What's up, fantasy managers? Welcome back to another episode of the First Pitch Podcast brought to you by PitcherList.com. My name is Jake Crumpler, and I'll be your host for this edition of the podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler, and you can find all of my work at crumplerbaseball.com. Let's dive into everything baseball related from Wednesday, April 9th, starting things off with the transactions, injuries, news, and notes from around the league. Kicking things off with the bad news as outfielder Wyatt Langford was placed on the 10-day IL with a right oblique strain. Ezekiel Duran was recalled from the minors in a corresponding move, but with an oblique strain, they're always tricky. Langford is likely out for at least 3 weeks, though I'd expect closer to a month with an oblique strain. Duran is probably not going to be the one who takes over in left field for Langford. Kevin Pillar started in left field versus a lefty in the first game with Langford out of the lineup. But roster resource suggests it's going to be a platoon with Josh Smith on the strong side. He hasn't played a lot of outfield in the last couple of years for the Rangers, but the team also recalled Dustin Harris, so maybe he takes over in left field on the strong side of a platoon there. He's not a top prospect, but he is a more natural fit for the outfield vacancy there because he spent more time in the outfield recently in the minors than Josh Smith has, but we'll see how that plays out for the Rangers with Wyatt Langford out with an oblique strain. Next, we have second baseman Ryan Bliss, who was placed on the 10-day IL with a left biceps tear that occurred when he swung hard against the Astros. Apparently, he stayed in the game and had another at bat. So pretty strong there from Ryan Bliss. That's pretty crazy, but he will be out for quite a while. The reports suggest a significant period of time. So we're likely looking at a month plus for Ryan Bliss with this left biceps tear. Leo Rivas was recalled from the minors at a corresponding move, and he's expected to be on the short side of a platoon at second base with Miles Mastrobuoni on the strong side. Next, we have outfielder Andrew Benintendi, who was placed on the 10-day IL with a left adductor strain. He believed he could play in a few days, but the White Sox elected to place him on the IL anyway, so expect him back within the minimum time. Brooks Baldwin and Michael A. Taylor are expected to platoon in left field in Benintendi's stead until he returns in 10 days. Next, we have starting pitcher Justin Steele, who was placed on the 15-day IL with left elbow tendonitis. He believes it'll be a minimum stint, so that's good. Steele will only be out for a couple weeks. Apparently, he had the same injury last September in 2024, and he missed 3 weeks. So maybe Steele is pushing his luck a little bit, suggesting he'll be back in 2 weeks. So I'd expect more so on the 3-week timeline because the Cubs will be controlling when he returns. And lastly, we have starting pitcher Pablo Lopez, who's expected to be placed on the 15-day IL with a right hamstring strain. It was uncovered when he underwent an MRI, so he hasn't officially been placed on the IL, but with the MRI revealing a strain, he's likely headed there. The team is optimistic it'll be a minimum stint, so we could see Pablo Lopez back in a couple weeks. But in the meantime, maybe Zebby Matthews or David Festa get a couple spot starts, and maybe if they impress, they could take over for Chris Paddock, who's really struggled early in the season. I'd love to see David Festa get a spot in this rotation for the rest of the season. I still have been holding on to my shares of him in deeper leagues, so I'm hoping he finally gets an opportunity. In terms of news, starting pitcher Clark Schmidt, who is recovering from rotator cuff tendonitis, will make his final rehab start today on Thursday. If all goes well in that start, he'll rejoin the Yankees rotation next week. So the Yankees rotation looking to get some reinforcements from Clark Schmidt next week if his final rehab start goes well on Thursday. Next, we have first baseman Freddie Freeman, who's recovering from a sprained ankle, and manager Dave Roberts said he'll be back in the lineup on Friday, or at least he's expected to be back in the lineup on Friday. He is on the IL, so a corresponding move will have to be made. Next, we have the Padres, who suggested that both Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jake Cronenworth will be back in the lineup on Friday. Tatis Jr. hurt his shoulder, which has been a problem for him throughout his career, on a swing the other day, but it looks like it's just a minor tweak of it. And Jake Cronenworth has been dealing with rib cramps, but clearly minor. He should be back on Friday as well. And lastly, we have starting pitcher Spencer Arrighetti, who famously broke his thumb while playing catch in the outfield and getting struck by a batted ball during batting practice. But luckily, the broken thumb won't require surgery, so he's expected to miss the next 6 weeks or so. He's going to wear a cast on that thumb for 2 to 2.5 weeks, oddly specific, and then he'll begin a throwing program. So we should see Arrighetti back in about a month and a half. Now we can take a look at the notable performances from Wednesday, a day in which we had a full slate of 15 games. We'll lead things off with our hitters as Kyren Paris, I'm pretty sure it's pronounced, helped the Angels to win in Tampa Bay. I know they don't play in Tampa Bay, but it's clearer that way. He went 2 for 4 with 2 runs, 2 home runs, and 2 runs batted in. He's already up to 5 homers now. The first one traveled 375 feet at 102 miles per hour, and the second one went 367 feet at 103 miles per hour. And Kyren Paris has been off to an incredible start this year. 5 homers, 4 steals, a 1653 OPS, and a 440 average, but he's not getting everyday PT playing time. He's got the ability to play all over the field, second base, outfield, shortstop, you name it. But the Angels haven't been giving him the opportunity. But I feel like with the performance that he's had to start the season, he should get that moving forward at some position. He should be playing every day, and thus I think he should be rostered everywhere. He's going to cool off soon. His minor league stats suggest that this is out of character for him. He's more of a speed threat, but you might as well ride it out while he's hot, and maybe you can sell high via trade sometime. And also, I read something that Vlad Sedler tweeted that Kyren Paris was trying to model his game after Aaron Judge and hired a batting coach that I think worked with Judge to work on Paris's swing this offseason. So maybe that's the big change that's happened here for Paris. So it's at least something to chew on and something to suggest that this change is believable. Next, we have Matt Mervis, who helped the Marlins to a win in Queens, going 2 for 5 with a run, a home run, and 3 runs batted in. It was his 3rd home run of the year, and it traveled 355 feet at 102 miles per hour. It's pretty cool to see Mervis get off to a hot start. It was rough to see him struggle with the Cubs, as he was somewhat highly touted there as the next coming of I wouldn't say next coming of Anthony Rizzo. I was about to, but at least the next coming of the starting first baseman for the Cubs. But that wasn't the case. So I'm glad to see him finding some success in Miami. However, his strikeout percentage, Mervis's strikeout percentage, is still over 40%. So while he's still an option in deep leagues because he's batting cleanup on the strong side of a first base platoon for the Marlins, it's not looking like Mervis is going to take that leap into standard league viability this year. And lastly, we have Mike Yastrzemski, who helped the Giants to a win versus the Reds, going 2 for 5 with 2 runs, a home run, a double, and 2 runs batted in. That home run was a walk-off home run. It was his 2nd of the year, and it traveled 381 feet at 105 miles per hour. Yastrzemski also homered on Monday, and he won't reach the peaks of his grandfather, obviously, but he's a decent option in deep leagues. He's likely to bat 230 with around 18 home runs. He's done that a few times throughout his career, but he'll have decent run production numbers, batting 6th on the strong side of a right field platoon for the Giants, and obviously he's got that clutch swing as well. So that'll do it for our batters. But if you'd like a breakdown of other notable hitting performances from Wednesday, check out the Daily Batters Box article over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the mound and check out some notable starting pitching performances, opening with Tyler Mahle, who helped the Rangers to a win on the north side of Chicago, going 7 innings, allowing 2 hits and with 1 run, walking 1 while striking out 4, inducing 9 whiffs with 30% CSW across 94 pitches. Mahle's fastball was down 2 miles per hour to 90, but he still maintained 19 inches of IVB and induced 7 whiffs with the pitch and 35% CSW. Pretty weird to see reduced velocity and this much success on the pitch. Versus righties, Mahle went fastball, slider, splitter, and versus lefties, he went fastball, splitter, cutter. The secondaries didn't really do much in this one, but he did do a great job of avoiding the middle of the plate. But I really don't think I would trust this if the success is based solely on that fastball and it's down to 90 miles per hour. It's really going to rely on its location and maintaining the shape that it's had early in the season. I'm not sure Mahle's going to be able to do that. I loved him back before COVID when he was pitching for the Reds. I was a huge fan of his during his breakout season. I was in on that one, but I'm not sure he's going to be a big bounce back this year. He gets the Angels next, Mahle does. But that may be a streaming option. I don't think I'm going to be huge in on that one, but he could find success like he did on Wednesday. Next, we have Tyler McGill, who's who did all he could, but the Mets lost to the Marlins. He went 4 shutout innings, allowing 6 hits, walking 4 while striking out 6, inducing 16 whiffs with 34% CSW across 90 pitches. Miguel's four-seamer thrived upstairs at 95 miles per hour with 19 inches of IVB, inducing 9 whiffs with 31% CSW. He also kept sinkers inside to righties pretty well, but he labored through at bats with no secondaries to turn to. His main secondary is a slider, but it really wasn't effective in this one, and he had absolutely no weapons against left-handed batters, going 73% four-seam fastballs. So I think Miguel's really going to need that slider to step up if he's going to find some success. He needs something against righties to get them off the fastballs, and then at least anything against lefties to induce whiffs and again get them off that fastball. Miguel gets the Twins in Minnesota next, and I'm probably avoiding that one, but I can see with this whiff heavy approach him finding some success or at least racking up some strikeouts. Then lastly, we have Max Meyer, who helped the Marlins to win in Queens, opposite Tyler McGill, tossing 6 1/3 scoreless innings, allowing 2 hits with 2 walks and 4 strikeouts. He induced 9 whiffs with 27% CSW across 82 pitches. Not quite the velocity we wanted in this one for Max Meyer. Fastball at 94, slider at 88, 89, but it's only a mile per hour down from what we wanted. But not sure this approach is going to work moving forward. He went 84% sinker slider against righties and 84% four-seamer slider against lefties. The slider was obviously his go-to pitch, 5 whiffs, 26% CSW in this one. I'm not sure if the rest of the arsenal is good enough to hold up the slider. The slider is elite, probably one of the best in the game. So the rest of the arsenal doesn't have to be that incredible, but when you're just going four-seamer sinker and they're not doing much, they're not inducing whiffs, they're not pitches that are recording high CSW rates, getting a lot of strikes, it forces a lot of pressure onto that slider. I think we got to keep riding it for now. He's had a lot of success through his first 3 starts, 2 ERA, 19 strikeouts in 18 innings, but I'm not sure if Max Meyer is going to take that huge step into the top 30 starting pitchers. He gets the Diamondbacks next, and I think you got to start him in that one, though it's sort of a questionable start for me. If you'd like a breakdown of every single start from Wednesday, give the Plus Pitch podcast a listen and check out Nick's daily SP roundup over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the bullpen and check out the relievers that got saves and the closers that pitched outside of save situations or blew their saves. Starting with the former, Robert Suarez recorded his major league leading 6th save with a hitless 9th. Mark Leiter Jr. recorded his first save of the season, recording the final out of the game. Devin Williams gave up three runs in the 9th with a 4-run lead, so not the greatest showing there for Devin Williams, but Mark Leiter Jr. stepped up to bail him out and get the save. Blake Trinan recorded his 2nd save with a scoreless 9th. Tanner Scott pitched a perfect 7th in this one, and Alex Vesia pitched the 8th, so this is clearly going to continue to be a headache, a committee situation in Hollywood. Emmanuel Clase recorded his long-awaited first save of the season. He allowed a run in the progress. Not a hot start to the season for Clase, but if there's any reliever I'm going to count on getting things back on track, it's Clase. Next, we have Nick Sandlin, who recorded his first save of the season with a perfect 11th. Jeff Hoffman pitched a hitless 9th and 10th, so it's still clear that he is the closer in Toronto. And lastly, Pete Fairbanks recorded his 2nd save with a hitless 9th. And in terms of closers to pitch outside of save situations or blow their saves, Tony Santillan recorded 5 outs between the 7th and 8th inning, and he ended up blowing a save in that one. Emilio Pagan then gave up a walk-off homer to the aforementioned Mike Yastrzemski in the 10th, and you'll never guess who was the only one to pitch a perfect inning and do so in the 9th. It was Ian Jabot. Ryan Walker pitched a perfect 10th for the Giants and earned his first win after Pagan blew the game, and Edwin Diaz pitched the 9th down by 2. He allowed 3 runs in that one, and he failed to escape the inning, so not the best showing, but that's why you don't pitch Edwin Diaz outside of save situations. Opposite Diaz, Anthony Bender recorded 5 outs across the 7th and the 8th. He was perfect across those two innings, and Luke Bacar, I'm sure that's not how it's pronounced, he pitched in the 9th up by 5. I'm sure he was in line for a save before Edwin Diaz blew up. So it's definitely some interesting usage here for the Marlins. Ryan Helsley pitched a scoreless 10th for the Cardinals. who went on to lose in 13 innings. Dennis Santana in that one recorded 6 outs across the 9th and the 10th, so clearly the closer there for the Pirates. Luke Jackson recorded the final 2 outs of the game for the Rangers. Aroldis Chapman pitched a scoreless 9th in a tie game for the Red Sox. Raisel Iglesias pitched the 9th in a tie game for the Braves and allowed a go-ahead homer and took his second loss of the season. Jose Alvarado benefited from that, recording the final out of the 8th and then closed out the 9th to earn his second win. Yohan Duran pitched a hitless 9th for the Twins, up by 4. They tacked on an insurance run in the top half, so he was in line for a save before that. And lastly, Seth Halverson pitched the 9th down by 8, of classic Rockies things to do. He allowed 6 runs, 3 of which were earned. So that's why you don't do that, Rockies. Don't throw your closers in there down 10-2. But that'll do it for our relievers. If you'd like more info on relievers, make sure to check out Rick Graham's weekly articles over on pitcherlist.com. And before we look forward to today's games, we're going to take a quick break. Now we'll look forward to Thursday, April 10th, a day in which we'll have just 6 games on the slate. My matchup of the day is Spencer Schwellenbach versus Jesus Luzardo. Schwellenbach was electric last time out. He is one of the best upcoming pitchers in the game, and Luzardo looks to be taking his game to the next level on a new club, pitching for the Phillies. He has been really good to start the season, so this should be a really good interdivision battle between Schwellenbach and Luzardo. In terms of probable starters, our auto starts tier has got 3 guys, including Schwellenbach. We've also got Bailey Ober in Kansas City and Gavin Williams versus the White Sox. Our probably starts tier has 3 guys, and our questionable starts tier has 3 guys as well. And that's where we'll find our streamer of the day in Zach Littell, who's taking on the Angels. He's a guy that can go out there and throw a bunch of sliders, and against a bad lineup, if the Angels are struggling in this one, he could find some success, maybe pitch 6 innings and get a quality start, but not a great option here. I'd also keep an eye out for Walker Buehler versus the Blue Jays. Probably not available in a lot of leagues. I think he's around 35% owned in Yahoo leagues, and not a great start to the season, but it's a 6-game slate. There's not a lot of options. So, test him out at your own risk. You never know with somebody like this, former All-Star. Maybe he finds it for one night against the Blue Jays. In terms of hitter suggestions, I go for Brewers and Rockies hitters in Coors. Self-explanatory, playing in the best hitters ballpark. Quinn Priester versus Ryan Feltner is the pitching matchup, so nobody scary there. Definitely target Brewers and Rockies hitters in Coors. And now we'll close things out with our relievers to watch. Pete Fairbanks is pitched on back-to-back days for the Rays, so expect Edwin Uceta to be the temporary closer today. Emmanuel Clase has pitched on back-to-back days for the Guardians, and so Cade Smith should be in line for a save today. And lastly, Raisel Iglesias pitched on back-to-back days for the Braves, so one of Pierce Johnson or Aaron Bummer should be in line for a save on Thursday. But that'll do it for today's episode of the First Pitch Podcast. Make sure to head on over to pitcherlist.com to check out all of the great articles and features we have on the site. Sign up for PL Plus or PL Pro to gain access to the Discord and to support the Pitcherlist staff. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler. Tune in live on YouTube tomorrow and every day for a new installment of the podcast. Trevor Huth will be with you tomorrow and throughout the weekend. Make sure to enjoy the day as we are blessed with another day of baseball.